It reminds me of this kid, a very good friend of mine I was in the Army with. Because I'm older, this is 1 million years ago, so I'm going to use terminology that you might not understand, Andrew. Like VHS player.
I'm not that, like, what? Of course I know what a VHS player is.
You're a young kid.
Okay.
This is the old world. I had this friend in the Army who every month he would go broke. Column A, soldiers don't get paid anything. Column B, he was young and dumb with his money. So it was like a 50-50 thing there. But every month he would go and he would he would pawn his VHS player for like $40.
Why'd you keep calling it a VHS player?
VCR, whatever. He would call it. It's been so long I don't remember the terminology. He would hawk his VCR. I think it's because it may not have been a VCR. That's a video cassette recorder. His might have been a VHS player. I don't know that it recorded. Regardless.
Wasn't that the whole point of VHS?
I think the point of VHS was to watch movies.
Sure.
So I think he would pawn it for $40 every month when he would run out of cash, and then he would unpawn it for like $55. And so he was putting himself like $15 in the hole every month, and I could never get him to understand that that's what he was doing. He was like, "No, dude, I need the money now. Then I'll have the $55 later. That's not a problem. So I can get it back. I just need the $40 now." And it's like I would be like, "Dude, you gotta stop. You're losing money every month." And he's like, looks at me like I'm an idiot.
He was like taking out a mortgage on all of his belongings.
Yeah, essentially. And there was like for 2 weeks every month, he just couldn't watch movies. Did you ever go to a movie store and rent a VHS, Gavin?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I used to rent like Ace Ventura: Pet Detective over and over and over again. I must have rented it like 50 quid's worth.
One time I was at the mall. This is my white chocolate story. One time I was at the mall, and this is during my first marriage. So I hadn't fucked up my first marriage yet, and then started and fucked up my second marriage. So this is way, way back. This is in the process of fucking up my first marriage. And I went to the mall in Austin to get like some chocolates or something for my first wife. And as just like a gift. It was honestly, who can remember? It was 100 years ago. It was probably an apology, if I'm being honest. And I went to this little chocolatier stand in the middle of the mall, and there was a nice girl working there, probably in her early 20s. And she was just really chatty, so I was just kind of chatting with her. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm picking out some chocolates for my wife or whatever." And she goes, "Well, do you know what she likes?" And I was like, "I think she likes white chocolate." I don't remember. I think she did. It's been so long ago. And the girl goes, "Well, we have some really good white chocolates. Although, it's I got to be honest with you, it's not real chocolate." And I go, "Excuse me?" She goes, "It's a big secret. Not everybody knows it, but yeah, white chocolate's not actually chocolate. I don't know." And she explained the reason to me. I don't remember now because it's not important. What is important though is she's doing this whole list, and then I'm like, okay. And then she goes, "Yeah, white chocolate's my boyfriend's favorite too. He loves it. He can't get enough of the stuff." And I said, "Well, you should save the white chocolate's not really chocolate story for when you guys break up." And she goes, her face just fell, and she goes, "Why would you say that?" And I go, "What would I say what?" And she goes, "Do you think my boyfriend and I are going to break up?" And I go, "I don't know." And she goes, "Do you know my boyfriend?" And I was like, "No, I don't know either of you. I don't know anything about you." And she goes, "Why would you say my boyfriend and I are going to break up?" And I go, "I don't know that you're going to break up. I'm just saying if you ever do, hit him with the white chocolate's not real chocolate and rock his world." And she goes, I don't know why you would say that." And she just like turned away. And I was like, "I guess I'm leaving now." That was fucking brutal. I felt so bad afterward. I was like, man, I really ruined that lady's day, and I did not mean to. I was just making a joke.
I feel like in your earlier life, it was always a risk when you would interact with normal people. Just like regular humans, regular job, living their lives.
Yeah.
Making some enemies here and there.
I used to be pretty bad about it. I remember in high school, one of my worst jobs in high school, I was a dishwasher, and I washed dishes for, like, the way the hierarchy at the local fried chicken fast food restaurant I worked in Alabama, was you started in the dishes, and then you made your way up to cook, and then you made your way up to front counter, and that's where you got, like, an extra 25 cents or something. And you didn't have to get fucking covered in grease and like have your hands stripped with cleaner and all that stuff. You just had to sell biscuits and chicken to people. And I worked there for a year and a half, and I was like, when do I had brought in buddies like, come get a job at this place. And they got promoted past me pretty quickly to the point where like all my friends worked at the place that I worked, but I got them all jobs, but they all were higher paid and in better positions than me. And I finally went to the manager and I said, I want the front. You got to like, come on, man. I've been washing dishes for my entire life here. Let me take a crack at the front counter. And they let me work the front counter for 2 weeks. And they pulled me in and they said, we're putting you back on dishes. And I go, why? Did I screw up the till or something? And he goes, no, you got all the money stuff right. But I don't know how to say this. So I'm just going to be honest with you, Geoff. This guy's name was Keith, by the way. He was a real dipshit. But he was like, he goes, he's sitting in this fucking like lazy, like this roller chair that leans back that was half broken, looking at me like he's like the Godfather, some 38-year-old dude managing 16-year-olds at a fast food restaurant. And he goes, well, the thing about it is, and you need to hear this for your life, you make people uncomfortable. And I go, what do you mean? And he goes, customers don't like you. They complain about you constantly. They say you make them uncomfortable. You weird them out. And I go, I just make jokes and stuff with them. And he goes, yeah, that's part of it. We don't get your jokes. I was like, okay.
And did any of these interactions ever register as like, ooh, they're not going to be happy with that? Or were you just like completely oblivious?
I would get in fights with people all the time.
Oh, okay.
Is there any like thought? I'm just gonna follow like what do you want? Like I don't think I've had a memorable conversation at a fast food place my entire life. The concept that you're constantly getting in fights. I don't even know how you get to a point where you could start a fight within an order.
Here's the thing. I didn't have as much of a filter when I was a kid, and I was way more sarcastic than I am now. And so the sarcasm was the first problem. But also, I just, especially when I was a kid, I just wanted to make myself laugh constantly. And so I would do it at their expense a lot. So I would make I would just like, the customers would make me laugh. They would like piss me off or do something dumb, and I would make them uncomfortable, making fun of them. And so because of that, I got to wash a lot more dishes. And I never got to do the front counter again. Even if somebody called in sick, they wouldn't put me on the front counter.
That's impressive, like, because you think, like, how long does an order take? 15, 20 seconds? There's not
long.
A lot of time to offend someone. Like, unless you're opening with, like, hey, dipshit, what do you want?
That's a good point. It's impressive to make someone uncomfortable that immediately after meeting them.
I was a prick, man. It was a lot of, I'm not going to defend it. And I'm not going to say any of the things I probably would have said, but I was an obnoxious kid,
It's just the fact that you also, though, were clueless about it. That, like, you could aggravate somebody within a 15-second window and then also be pulled and be like, what's up? Like, why are we having this talk? What are you saying?
Well, they'd be like, well, like, this guy had this id, and I go, oh, that was hilarious. We had a funny joke about that. And they'd be like, no, you had a funny joke about that. He wanted to punch you in the face. Like, okay. And that's when I knew that day that Keith didn't have a lot of faith in my future at the fried chicken restaurant.
But here's the thing. You then went on, I assume a lot later, to work in a call center. And you actually were like quite good at your job by the sounds of it, and you got to management and all that stuff. But were you not a sarcastic prick to people down the phone?
Well, so the difference between when I was 23 and I got a job at the call center and when I was 16 and working at the fast food restaurant was 5 years of the Army.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, so the Army physically beat a lot of sarcasm out of me. And calmed me down quite a bit. So I learned how to handle it so that I could at least pay the rent. Let me say that. And, by the time I was 23, I had a wife and a mortgage, and I couldn't afford to be a dick to customers.
I wonder how post-Army Geoff would have gotten on with pre-Army Geoff.
Not well.
Would you have complained to the manager about yourself?
I don't think so. But maybe today Geoff would, though. Today Geoff would have zero patience for, like, 17-year-old Geoff or 18-year-old Geoff. I would not. I'd see him coming. I'd be like, I'm not doing it. I'm not dealing with him. Fucking, I don't care if it's me. I don't care if I'm me. I can't deal with me. It's too much. He was a prick.
Steph, you ever sit on a toilet that's falling apart while you're trying to use it?
Yes.
Cool. That's
yes,
wild.
Yes, I have. In 1995, when I was in Kuwait in the Army, they would bring in these portable trailers for you to shit in. Like little portable, it would have like 2 toilets and 2 urinals and a sink and a shower. And on day 1 it's okay. It's serviceable. But by like day 60 of thousands of soldiers taking aggressive, manly, military macho shits, it looks like the house in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, essentially. And it's funny you say that, because I sat down on a toilet in one of those porta potties once in the fall of 95, and fall of 95 because I also fell. And it was a little wiggly like that, and I thought, huh. And then a couple weeks later, I sat on it again, and it was a little more wiggly, and I thought, wow, this thing's not doing too well. And I went to lean back to grab some toilet paper because it was like sitting on the back of the thing, and the toilet fell through the floor. And the toilet fell through the floor.
How far did you fall?
I fell 18 inches.
Wow!
Like the base of the toilet was was through the floor. The bowl caught it, and half the back was in. So I was like, it was almost as if I was leaning back in a lazy boy with my legs up in the air, kicking like I'm a cockroach on my back, and I'm leaning back against the toilet back, and I had to crawl out and pretend like that wasn't me, and that didn't happen, and I just went to a different porta potty, and I never told anybody, and the next day there was tape over that and they fixed it. Hey, by the way, I don't want to derail that, but when there's an appropriate time to crowbar it in, this whole Minority Report joke thing reminded me of a face story from my past that I haven't thought about since I was like 18.
Is that you saying you're not going to tell it yet?
Yeah.
No, I just don't want to derail Andrew if he's going in a direction, but I wanted to pipe in and say it just so we don't get too far down the road. There. Yeah, but now I'm offering to re-rail Andrew.
You derailed the train to say you're open to re-rail it, is what you did. And that's fine. You go ahead. You tell your story. I'd love to hear it.
Okay. When I'm going to try, I'm remembering this. It's popping into my head as we're having the conversation, so I'll do my best to explain it. When I was in, you guys know I was in the Army for 5 years, from 18 to 23, and I was a journalist, and Army photojournalist and print journalist. I was in journalism school in the military, which was a very difficult school. Only about 50% of the people that enter that school graduate. It's got the second highest failure rate out of all schools in the military, or at least it did at the time. I think it was behind linguistics and maybe air traffic control, so maybe it was the third. Anyway, I never expected to pass it because I was a shit student and kind of a shit everything, and I was super mediocre. And I just realized that throughout my life, I've been a C student. No matter how difficult school is, I could go to Harvard and be a C student, or I could go to a community college and still be a C student. I just am like dead in that 70 to 75 zone, always on the brink of failing, but just doing just enough. I don't know how I've been able to make it 45 years like that, but that just seems to be my trajectory. So I didn't expect to pass journalism school because people were dropping like flies all around me. And I think we started with 48 people, and we graduated like 23. So more than half the people failed out and had to go like fucking hump guns and be artillery and MPs and shit. And so during journalism school, you go through this intensive period where it's called feats, where you have to learn how to write features. And the goal is the first one you turn in, they dismantle you and just destroy you emotionally and mentally. And like there were people you would turn in the paper. There were people that got like their first grade was like a -70. There was somebody like one of my best friends got like a -25. I got like a 30, and I felt like a fucking hero. But your mind is just Swiss cheese during this period because you're still like training and going and like fucking living in the woods, and it's freezing. And
how do you get a negative though?
They just find enough mistakes to give you negative. It's purely only to demoralize you.
If instead of turning it in, I turned in like an apple, would I get a higher score? Because it's less.
Yeah, potentially. But that's not the point of the exercise. The point of the exercise is just to shit down your mouth and see how you respond to it. And it's kind of the Army as a whole. So I was in like the third week of this, like feats 3. And I was known as the school's called DINFOS, the Defense Information School. And I was known as the DINFOS sleeper because I could not stay awake. I fell asleep in class every day. They would make me stand up and go to the back. I fell asleep standing up, fell onto a wall once, kind of like you did in the closet during the making of RVB Season 5. And I went to do an interview with a guy, a very serious interview for my Feats 3. It was a dude who was on a shooting range in the military, and a Marine went nuts and started shooting at people, and this guy had to kill the Marine. He had to shoot him and to defend the other people. It's a guy just like lost his mind on a shooting range. This is in the late 80s probably. And I was interviewing him about this, and I kept falling asleep during the interview.
Oh my God.
But there were two other people there with me, and so I thought I got away with it. I would like catch myself nodding off and wake up. And when I got home that night, when I got to the barracks that night, I started to transcribe my notes from my little tape recorder. And in the tape recorder, sometimes while I was sleeping, he would stop telling the story and then just start saying shit to me about me being asleep or being an idiot or how I was never going to pass. And then as I started to come back around, he would just effortlessly dive back into the story. And I interviewed the dude for fucking 45 minutes, and he never said a word to me. I never knew. I left thinking that was a pretty good interview, and I don't think he caught me sleeping at all. And the two people that I was with never said a word to me. I wish I still had that tape. In the tape, he's just making fun of me, calling me dumb, making fun of my big ears, like telling me there's no way I'm going to pass this class, just making up shit. And he probably did it like 7 or 8 times throughout the course of this interview. And I got back and I felt like the dumbest motherfucker. I was so fucking embarrassed. And then I passed with like a 74.
That's crazy because you probably heard the entire story. You must have kept waking up being like, I feel like I'm still on board.
Like, every time I would like jostle back awake, he would just be in the middle of, I'd be missing some of it, but I cut with context clues.
This
I could
is
be like,
insane,
interesting,
by the way.
interesting.
It doesn't sound to me like that would be a boring story.
No,
it wasn't boring at all, dude. I was just tired. I was sleeping.
The concept that you think you could sneakily sleep. Like, when you sleep, there's nothing subtle about sleeping conversation.
Not at all. Not at all.
You can't hide that. It's so obvious. Like, your head tilts.
Absolutely.
You can't
Were you, like, facing him in a chair? Like, what? Yeah. How was
there's no way.
He was at a desk, and I was on the other end of the desk. But he was talking to 2 other people as well, and so I'd be like...
3 people isn't a lot. You don't get lost in a crowd of 3.
I know. It sounds ludicrous, and I wish I had the tape to go back and play it to you, because it sounds impossible. I guess they must have been in on it, or he signaled them or to shut the fuck up or something, but like when I transcribed that tape, it was like my heart fell through my body and then like dribbled out my dick all over my shoes, and I just had like bloody cummy dick heart all over my feet.
Oh my God.
And
I can't believe I've never heard that story.
I haven't thought about it since then, probably. and I was just like, there is no fucking way I'm passing this school. He's gonna tell my teachers. These teachers are really smart and hard, and I'm fucking done. And then I asked somebody about it later, and they said, oh yeah, he does that all the time. People are always falling asleep. We keep you guys so tired that it's common. Because, they're getting you up at like 5 a.m. and you're like doing like a 5-mile road march, and then you have 9 hours of class, and then you go do drills and stuff in the evening, and then you get to start writing your paper at like 8 p.m. and you have to and you have to do it till like 3 a.m. and then you get 3 hours of sleep or 2 hours of sleep, and then you do it again. You did that for 8 months essentially. And so they keep you so like, it's almost like Scientology, right? They keep you so sleep deprived you'll believe anything.
That tape has to be somewhere, right?
I don't think so. Maybe
certainly it's somewhere.
I have a briefcase full of my old journalism school shit. I can go through it and see if it's there.
That'd be amazing.
I doubt it would be, but maybe I kept it and didn't realize it. Anyway, that's my 18-year-old face journalism school story that Andrew's Minority Report thing just popped into my head that I probably haven't thought about in 25 years.
I just want to give you credit. You perfectly tied a bow. You put the train back on the tracks with a Scientology comment. It was perfect. I don't think that was even intentional. You did a great job.
$1 million, Geoff, but you have to receive the total amount of chewing tobacco that has been spit out of Don Zimmer's mouth in his life.
How do I receive it?
it just gets put on your front lawn.
Oh yeah, I'll do that.
He's never going to receive that.
I would do that. I would do that in a second. You ever drink fucking chewing tobacco? Like
What?
somebody else's spit cup?
No.
Oh God, no.
I did that once in the Army.
Yeah, I think
It was
Bernie did it too.
instant vomit. Yeah, I think we've talked about it before, probably on old podcasts. That's also another problem with doing podcasts for like 20 years is, man, you covered all your shit like in the first 2 years, and then you've just spent the last 18 saying it over again.
If you could put anything in a fire extinguisher that wasn't for extinguishing fires, what would you put in it? What would be your go-to item?
Whipped cream.
Whipped cream?
Whipped cream. Whipped cream already comes out of a pressurized can.
I know, it's
Yeah.
fucking awesome, and I eat it straight. I eat it straight out of the can 3 or 4 times a day. So imagine if I don't have to, if I have a mega sized. I'm not looking for a fire extinguisher that shoots anything. I'm looking for a whipped cream can the size of a fire extinguisher that I can put in my fridge. It has a nozzle that I can, so because it's heavy, right? You don't want to lift it up, so you get it wedged in there, and then you have the little nozzle. You can like fucking snake it out of the fridge.
That's the answer of like an 8-year-old child. That's like big. That's like the kid becomes Tom Hanks. He gets a vending machine and a trampoline and a giant can of whipped cream.
Yeah. How about you guys? Come up with something better than that.
I don't. Well, what do you typically put whipped cream on?
I put it on my mouth, man.
I just like you try to fill a hot chocolate, like just top it off, and all the liquid shoots out because you're just blasting it at full speed. Like it wouldn't. It's not practical in any way. I love it.
You just have a cup that used to have hot chocolate and a bunch of brown shit everywhere.
I'd probably do something really disturbing, like blood or something. Like my blood.
That's
Yeah, like-
horrifying. Who's
Like if
blood?
I need, well, because I was thinking of something that would be weird, but also useful in an emergency. So if my blood was in it,
What?
and I needed a transfusion, I could be like, get that fire extinguisher,
I just coat you in it.
fill some cups with it.
Open wide.
But the splash would be traumatic to look at afterwards.
I don't think that's how blood transfusion works. I don't think that'd be at all helpful.
I need a lot of blood, and I need it in me all at once.
Yeah, don't worry, we don't need to transfuse anything. I have this fire extinguisher of my own blood. It's just been you feel free to
It's
use
so
it.
powerful, it just shoots blood into your skin.
That's horrifying. I like Geoff's way better.
But useful.
No, it's not useful. There's no way in which there's no scenario that's useful.
How long does blood keep under pressure?
Okay, it is
Oh, my
useful,
God.
and here's why. When I was in the Army, which I realized was a long, long time ago, and technology's probably changed. But when I was in the Army and we went through basic training, we had to get a battery of vaccines and shots, right? Like, this is before the world was scared of vaccines again for a while. And it was like, I had to get measles, mumps, rubella, yellow fever, typhoid, tetanus, all this stuff, right? Like, and every time I had to go anywhere, I'd have to get 37 more shots, too. They'd be like, you need a malaria 7 shot. And I'm like, but I got 1 through 6 last week. And they're like, well, you're going to a malaria 7 region. God damn it. Right? There was just constant shots in the military. But in basic training, they used this thing that was, instead of having to deal with needles and stuff, they just had this gun that shot pressurized medicine into you.
Shit, like a pressure hose? Like it's really powerful?
Yeah, it was like a pressure needle. And they would tell you, like, if you move, you will slice your arm open because it'll just cut through you. But if you hold perfectly still, it'll just, it's just like a needle. Just like, zoop, hurts the same, feels the same, but it's just like fucking pressurized. So you could do something like that where you shot a bunch of pressurized blood into you all at once.
There you go. I'll just put an adapter on the end of the fire extinguisher, make it sort of needle width, straight in. Don't even have to wash it. I can give everyone my blood back to back.
That sounds perfect.
That is.
Got to take it down to the fire department and get it recharged every 6 months.
Just got to sit and drip into it for about 8 hours.
What was the previous most amount of fun you've had pissing, Geoff?
I probably am. There's probably a lot that don't come to mind that I'm forgetting or I'm blanking on right now. I've peed in a lot of nefarious ways, especially when I was younger, you know, and dumber.
You went on that security guard once, didn't you?
No, yeah, you did. That's a great.
I did pee on a security guard.
That sounds fun.
Truck. I was gonna. Yeah, no, that's a good one. I was thinking of a worse one. Yeah, no. I mean, I don't know. Do I tell these stories Is it okay to tell this story? Because I've told it on other Rooster Teeth podcasts. Is it?
Well, you've told the security guard one on this podcast.
Oh, well, then I don't have to tell it again. There you go.
What was the worst one, though?
I-
Did you pee on his kids? That would be worse.
No, I didn't pee on his kids. I was thinking about the time I peed in that guy's duffel bag before he went to the airport in the Army.
I don't know that one.
I was roommates with this guy. In journalism school at Fort Bend Harrison, who was such a prick. And I tried to like him a lot. I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to do anything. All the things that I hate about him are super identifying, so I won't say them. But I will say that I tried really hard to like him, and he was just a cocky prick. And he was never nice to me and always rude. And he graduated journalism school, as most of us did eventually. And he went on to his duty station, wherever that was in the Army. And please take into consideration that I am a 46-year-old man now. I'm a different person. I was 18 at the time. I was a very dumb, very inexperienced, very volatile 18-year-old. And so I was talking to him the night before. He was packing up his duffel bag. And, because you throw everything into your duffel bag and then you lock it and then you take off. And you carry that around the airport or whatever. And so he was like, yeah, I'm getting up. I got to get up pretty early. My flight's at like 7 a.m. So I'm going to leave the room at like 5 a.m. So, to meet the, driver or whatever. So you want to say, best of luck. It was nice being a roommate with you for 6 months or whatever. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. So I got up at 4 a.m. before he got up. And while he was still asleep, I opened up his duffel bag. He hadn't locked it yet. And in it were his Class A shoes, which are like Army dress shoes. And I took them in the bathroom and I peed in them a little bit. And then I put them back in the duffel bag. And then I put all his clothes back in. And then for good measure, I just peed in the duffel bag a little bit. And then I shut it up. And then I went back to bed and I never talked to him or saw him again. I assume he figured it out at some point. Not something I would do now.
I bet not. But when did you think he realized?
Well, probably when he opened up the duffel bag wherever he got when he got there.
Maybe he just thought like a dog at the airport pissed in it or something.
Maybe he thought a dog in the airport. But that was also, like, urine was commonplace. Like, these are a bunch of, like, these are 18, 19-year-old kids that are fucking living in military barracks. They can't go anywhere. So they just do dumb shit. Like, a week before that, I remember, this just popped into my head, we shared a bathroom with, like, suite mates, and there were two other dudes on the other side. A week before that, I was woken up at 2 a.m. by screaming and laughing, and I ran into the other room, and one of the two guys I know was laughing while another guy was trying to beat him up, and they were both naked, and figured out what happened was the guy came in drunk, and he thought it would be funny to piss on his roommate's head while he was sleeping. And so the roommate woke up because he was getting pissed on in the head. And so he was angry. And he started beating the shit out of the guy. The other guy was just drunk and laughing and still pissing. And so there was like a tangle of urine and 19 or 22-year-old dudes, or however old they were, just rolling around. One of them was screaming and trying to kill the other one. And the other one was just laughing his fucking ass off, still peeing. And so there was just, that kind of shit happened all the time.
I love the phrase that someone woke up because they were getting pissed on in the head.
Yeah. People do weird shit in the Army. I went on a trip one time to go surfing at Port Aransas with some friends of mine, the guy that taught me how to surf, Army trip, right? This is when I was stationed at Fort Hood. And I woke up in the middle of the night because one of my friends was laughing. And it was like loud. And I woke up, and one of my friends, this guy Dale, had gotten really, really drunk. We were all drunk, we were kids. And he had taken all of our wallets, and he had put them in the corner of we were like staying at like a Motel 6, and he had put them all in the corner of the room and was just pissing on them. His wallet, my wallet, my friend Mike's wallet, my friend Pete's wallet. He just put them in a pile and was just pissing on our wallets. I still to this day, I don't know why he did it. He was like blackout drunk. He just thought it would be a funny thing to do.
Weird decision.
Didn't remember doing it in the morning. Had no memory of it.
I have so much respect that he put his in the pile too.
His was in there too. His was in there too.
He's like, I've got to make it fair.
Yeah.
It's like, A, who pisses on a wallet? B, who pisses on all the wallets in front of us? Like, I'm waking people up. Like, Pete, what's going on? Dale, stop it. What are you doing, man? And he's like, what? He had no fucking clue. It was like sleep drunk pissing, but he was laughing when he did it. It was fucking weird, man.
When you piss on somebody, when you use piss as a weapon, and you piss on the head of someone, and they go for the attack, and you keep pissing, it's a great move. It's really hard to counter. Like, how are you going to go after him? Yeah, that's what I'm. Well, I know it's hard for the guy to stop, but I'm saying, like, when you go to punch him, you're just going to get peed on more, and the guy just wins. Like, you don't lose. Even if you're getting beat up, you're continuing to win because you're pissing on the person. It's really hard to get in non-pissing range for an attack. Like, kicks, it would be difficult.
I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I probably have 4 or 5. I probably have more pissing stories too about the Army. It's a urine-filled environment.
It sounds like Eric wants us to get away from piss and onto the salad and drawing stuff.
Okay.
Maybe we could have some piss next week.
That's okay. I think we've covered enough pee, and I think enough people were covered in pee in this episode that we can just move on. I did something similar. It killed Pepsi for me for a long, long time. Where when I was in Kuwait, one of the times in the Army, my boss used to dip all the time, and everybody's got a story about how they accidentally drank dip, but I fucking did as well. And he used to spit it into this Pepsi can, and I picked up a Pepsi can that was 3/4 full because my Pepsi can was 3/4 full, and it was in the desert in Kuwait, so I didn't expect it to be cold because there wasn't a lot of air conditioning, so it wasn't cold, so it didn't strike me as odd. And then I chugged the entire 3/4 bottle, and then everything went wrong all at once, and I had like a moment of levity where I took the Pepsi can down and I looked at it, and I thought my brain figured out what it was, and I just kind of looked at it for a second, and then full realization came, and I just turned to the right, and I projectile vomited across the office.
Oh, people gotta just stop drinking the dregs of stuff.
Yeah.
And what's with all the spit? Like, I won't spit anywhere unless it's gonna slip down the pipe with water. Like, what? Gozzing into a candle and into cups, that disgusts me alone.
It's those tobacco chewers, man. That's what they do.
Have you ever had a double ankle roll?
I absolutely have. I've had things where I've hurt one ankle and then had to hobble on the other ankle and then hurt the other one. So by the time the first one healed, the second one was still in pain. Yeah, I've done the flip. I've ankle flipped.
I dated a girl briefly in the Army who, like, 3 days after we started dating, she slipped and broke her leg and had to be in a full leg cast and wear crutches. And then she was in her room getting ready and fucking fell off the crutches and broke her arm and had to have a full arm cast.
Oh my
so
God.
she had a full arm cast on one side of her body and a full leg cast on the other. And then she dumped me. So
were you unsupportive of
as
her
far as I
injury?
know, she's still in those casts. No, I was like, it was really nice, but I think I guess she had other stuff on her mind.
I'd also like to point out your phrasing. You said she was wearing crutches, like they're a clothing accessory.
I don't know, like using them, whatever. Did I say wearing?
Like you pop on a pair of gloves.
I was telling Andrew, it's kind of like how the mullet hairstyle has been around for a very, very long time. It was super popular in the 80s, but it wasn't called the mullet until the Beastie Boys did it in 1994. I was in the Army before the mullet became the mullet. And I would assume that was like 100 years ago.
What's
This idea predates face altogether. Do you want to explain it, Geoff?
Yeah, I got really into bean holes a couple years, over a decade ago at this point, because I read an article in the New York Times about it. And what it is, Andrew, is it was started by loggers up in the Northeast, like in the Maine, Vermont area. What they would do is they had to feed all the loggers, and they were moving campsites like every 2 days, going further and further up into the extreme north. And so the chef, the cook, would have to travel ahead of them and prepare food and have the food ready for them when they got there. So they developed this ingenious idea where they would dig a hole in the ground, right? And then they would take a big-ass, like, cast iron pot, and they would fill it with beans, and then, like, a ham hock, and tomatoes, and onions, and just everything you would want in, like, some yummy-ass baked beans, right? This crazy recipe. And then they would close it up, right? Put the top on the big cast iron, stick it in the hole, about 4 feet in the ground, maybe, and then they would burn a bunch of wood, and then they would get all the hot, essentially the hot coals, and they would cover the bean hole, or they would cover the cast iron bean container with all these hot embers, right? And then they would stick like a piece of plywood over that and then cover it with like a foot of dirt. And then 48 hours later, when the loggers would come up, they would knock off the dirt, pick up the thing, pull out the bean hole, and they would have the greatest tasting beans on earth in this giant pot that they could all eat communally for like 2 days. And then at that point, then the chef would go up 2 days further and then make another beanhole. And so from everything that I've read in my extensive beanhole research, there is nothing on earth like beanhole beans. There is nothing on earth like 48-hour prepared beanhole beans. And when I was in the Army and we fought forest fires in Montana, one of the things that they did was they would give us these solar lunch bags that would have like a burrito in it, and it would be wrapped in like tinfoil. And the instructions were to find some hot ash on the ground that had burned, and then kick a hole, stick it in, and then cover it with the ashes, and come back in like 20 minutes, and you'd have a cooked burrito. And ever since then, I thought that was the coolest idea.
It's like nature's microwave.
Yeah, nature's microwave. So when I discovered the beanhole, I've been obsessed with the idea of making a beanhole forever, and we've been talking about it forever. And I really want to do it. I just haven't done it.
Yeah.
I had a banana yesterday. It was fucking awesome. What's so funny about that?
I don't know. I like enthused banana Geoff. If that's a byproduct of this tooth issue.
I'm always
eating a banana. Well, I know, but it's a different. Your delivery of it was fucking awesome. Was like you looking out into a field or something, like the grizzled banana vet. It's fucking
I got the
reminiscing about the good old days. Like I had a banana the other day.
I've got that 1,000-yard potassium stare. You guys know the phrase 1,000-yard stare comes from the military. Are you familiar with that phrase?
I associate it with that, but I don't.
Yeah,
know
it's like it's a phrase that they say like guys in the military who have killed people in action, who have been in battle, have like what's called a 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah,
where they just kind of see through things. That's fucking real. I knew a lot of dudes in the Army that had that. That is, yeah. I don't know. I don't know anybody who was in combat who didn't have that.
Is it just a case of like when there's nothing else to think about, your mind just goes back to that and you just stare off into the distance?
I think it must be right,
Christ.
where it's like it's always. I never really talked about it. Well, I had one friend who had it bad, and I talked about it with him a little bit. But yeah, he was a gunner on a helicopter in Panama. And he in some incursion, and yeah, he was like he would get choked up if he talked about it too much. But yeah, dude, if you just like idle time, they would just sit, and I can't imagine the horrors replaying through their minds. But you know,
this has to be the only time in the history of the world in which a person was expecting to hear a banana fact and instead was sideswiped by the horrors of war.
Well, listen, we don't talk about it a lot, but I spent 5 years in the United States Army, so I got it is a
totally
part
fair.
of my past.
I just was not prepared for that. I was still thinking about the potassium stare.
And now I've been on a lot of helicopters. I was in the Army for 5 years. I was a photographer. I flew in helicopters constantly. I would go into Blackhawks all the time, and every time I would get into a Blackhawk, the pilot would go, "Hey, you ever flown in a Blackhawk before?" And I'd go, "Yes, many times. You don't have to do the thing." And he goes, "I'm about to scare the piss out of you." And they go up in the air and they turn sideways, and you're just hanging monkey strapped in, like looking at the ground. And you go, "Ah!" And they turn it right back. And then every helicopter pilot on Earth does that. And it's really old, really fast. And no matter how many times you say like you guys have done it before, I don't have to. Like it's every pilot's perverse pleasure, right? So I feel pretty well versed in helicopters. I like how the community makes these albums, and how I just think that's so pure, like really cool and creative. And I was trying to think of other like creative ways that we could create content together or create like something together. And I was thinking about when I was in the Army, early on in the Army, on holidays when soldiers were too poor to go home, we would all like get together in the common area of the barracks or whatever, and everybody would have like one recipe that was like their family recipe, and we'd make like a Thanksgiving dinner for all the like wayward people that didn't have the money to go home to see their families, or in some cases just didn't have family to go home to. And you'd have like kind of like a potluck Thanksgiving dinner. And I know Thanksgiving is a pretty American thing, which is why I'm on the fence about talking about it. I know you guys have a Thanksgiving in Canada, Andrew, but it's different. And then Gavin, the whole point of Thanksgiving is that we were saying thanks for not being England anymore. So I imagine you people don't probably don't celebrate it as much. By the way,
4th of July also not a huge one for us.
Yeah, but I had this idea of like maybe we could put together like a community sourced cookbook where everybody submits like their Thanksgiving ideas for like oh, this is my family's cranberry recipe or whatever, and I think we could call it Deep Lore About Stuffing.
Oh, I love it. That's fantastic.
That's my
Deep
idea.
lore. Oh, I hope there's no stuffing recipes in it. That's even better.
Have I ever told you guys a story about when I was in high school and I worked as a tool repairman for like the last year and a half I was in high school before I joined the Army?
No.
And this really sweet old dude who was like obsessed with Paul Harvey, and he only had one arm, and he was just like a really fucking badass dude who could do anything. He'd worked in the oil fields his entire life and had done all this with only one arm. And he opened up a tool repair shop, and he would hire high school students. And he tried to give me the business because he was trying to retire. And I was like, no offense, but I don't want to be a tool repairman for the rest of my life. And so I joined the Army. But really lovely dude. And he taught me about productivity and about being efficient and working at all times. And like if there weren't tools to fix, and I was a hydraulic, electronic, and pneumatic tool repairman. So any kind of pneumatic drill, any kind of like electric bandsaw, a lot of pumps, like a lot of pneumatic pumps for like tugboats and shit we would fix. And he was always kind of scraping by. And so whenever we would run out of stuff to do, he would tell me to get creative and come up with work. And one of his favorite things to have me do would be to pull nails out of old lumber and then straighten the nails and then regrind points on the nails and then save them so that we would have to
God.
Like he was that level of cheap. One time he came into work and he had like 3 55-gallon or like 50-gallon drums full of batteries that he had found in an industrial dumpster. And he goes, these might be bad, but we're going to find out. They were all like A cell, like AA, D cell, C cell. And I spent like an entire Saturday testing batteries to see which ones were good and which ones were bad. Like this is the kind of stuff he had me do all the time. And so he would leave for a while and he would just say like, find something productive to do. And a lot of what I would do is I would find old broken like band saws or like hammer drills, and I would try to rebuild them so he could sell them as used tools from like discarded pieces. And we were in this giant warehouse that was like 30 feet tall, I guess, maybe. I don't know. It was a tall ass warehouse. And he had built these out of recycled wood, which goes into this, I think, a little bit. He had built these shelves that went all the way to the top that were just covered in just whatever nonsense and bullshit that he had accumulated and collected. And I would climb up there to look for like tool parts and stuff. And there was one that he had that was suspended from the ceiling by chains, and it was just like a wooden flat that was suspended by chains from the ceiling, just hanging loose, and you had to like climb up on this one really tall shelf to jump over to it, and there was like some kind of something up there that I saw that I thought I could fuck with, and so I went up there to get it, and then I liked being up there because you could like kind of swing on it, and it felt dangerous as fuck because you're like 25 feet in the air swinging on some fucking rotten wood, and I got up there, and then I realized that that it was a little scary to get down, and I just picked a clean spot, like on the top of a shelf, and I jumped down to it, and I guess I was just high enough up, and the wood was old and free enough to be rickety or rotten. I fell straight through that shelf into the next shelf, up to my chest. And so my legs were dangling and my arms were above me. And I was like suspended maybe 18 feet in the air on like the fourth out of like five, maybe like the fifth out of like 6 shelves high. I went totally through the 6th shelf into the 5th and embedded, kind of like Clark Griswold, and I was fucking physically stuck, and I had to stay there like that for like 30 minutes until he came back to get something and saw me, and I was like, Dean, help! I heard the door open up, and he had to run in and figure out how to get me out of there. He pulled me loose. But I was like suspended in the air, like 18, 20 feet up in the air with like just like fucking rusty saws and shit all around me. Like it's amazing I didn't fucking die. And it's just like a movie, completely stuck for a good half hour. I cried for a little bit. I laughed for a little bit. Like I went through all the emotions. I was like 16.
Were you crying because you thought you might get more hurt? Like, or just...
I think I was crying because it was a Saturday morning, and I thought, what if he doesn't come back? I'm going to die up here.
Your 127 hours moment is just stuck in the shelf, contemplating.
And I was just wedged in so fucking tight, I couldn't get anywhere. It sucked.
I don't have anything that's comparable to being stuck in a literal shelf.
I one time was when I was in the Army. I was maybe 19, and we went to, like, if you lived in Fort Hood, if you went to Fort Hood, if you were in the Army, you went to Fort Hood, you would understand this, but you got the fuck out of Fort Hood like the second you could every week. And so that's how I ended up falling in love with Austin, was I would drive down to Austin just to go to bookstores or coffee shops after work and just spend as much time. Like I'd get out of work at like 5 and I'd start driving to Austin, and I'd come home at like 2 a.m, go back to sleep, and get up at 5 a.m. to do PT and just get no sleep, just to pretend like I didn't live in the Army. But one time we'd go on weekend trips a lot. We went to San Antonio. It wasn't the trip that I told you guys about where I almost got run over by the train and then the scary car opened up all the doors. Same dudes, same city, different weekend. And we were walking around the Riverwalk, which I really like because it's gross and touristy, but it's also where the chase scene in Cloak and Dagger happened, which is one of my favorite childhood movies. Because I thought Dabney Coleman was like the coolest fucking dude ever. And so I love to go down there anytime I get the opportunity. And there was like a local TV crew filming, just people walking down. I don't know, they were doing like a tourism segment or something. And I thought I was gonna be funny and do like a little kick my leg and spin in the air and like point at the thing as I was walking by. And I started to do that, and I somehow tripped myself and kicked my own leg out from under me and fell fucking like hard on the concrete next to the edge, hit my head and rolled. Like I was probably like 3 feet from going over, but I was like, I hit so hard and was so disoriented that I almost fell in the fucking Riverwalk. And some San Antonio like Fox affiliate probably still has that footage.
Yeah.
What happened to the woodshop guy, Geoff?
I don't know. I joined the Army. I think he hired another high school student. It was like part of a work placement program. And he was like, yeah, I know you're going in the Army, but or you're thinking about going in the Army, but he thought I had a really I'll be honest, he thought I had a really good brain and I was really, really smart and had a really good mind for fixing tools, but that I was awkward and my hands were stupid. Like like I had the brain for it, but not the body for it or the dexterity. But he was like, but we could get you there. And he was like, I'd really like to like pass this. I don't have a kid. I'd really like to pass this down to you someday, and this could be your business. And I was like, that's really humbling and gratifying and really sweet of you, but I want to go be a journalist. And I never saw him again. I think I went back and visited him once after basic training. He was still there, and then I went back like a year later, and the shop was gone.
Have you considered that he's Jigsaw? You were the first Jigsaw trap. The way you described it, you trapped yourself. There's blades everywhere. It's rusty. Like, what happened? That's why I'm asking. I'm concerned. You may be patient zero, the Jigsaw story, and you didn't even know it.
That's entirely... I never considered that. I'm like the only one who got away.
Yeah. Inspired an entire franchise.
When I was in Kuwait back in the Army in the mid-'90s, they had like a McDonald's. It was actually the nicest McDonald's you've ever seen. It's like 2 stories, and like dudes would be washing your car when you went, and it was fucking ridiculous. But they had a lot of American restaurants then, but the only one they had that was, I guess, not licensed was Burger King, and so they had Burger Queen.
They have a cool logo.
I don't remember it being any different. I just remember laughing every time I saw it.
It was cool to see. I was like really thrilled. It was so cool to be in the bullpen. Geoff got kind of whisked away, and then we were standing there going like, oh my God, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. And he did it. And it was like so awesome to see that happen right in front of us. And then when Geoff came back, they were in the middle of the national anthem, and Geoff turned the corner and heard that the national anthem was playing. And I watched the Army kick in like within him. He stood. I've never seen Geoff stand up more straight and tall and like hand over the heart. It was immediate, and then it ended, and he walked back over, and he's like, hey, what's up? It was so, man, that was beat into you. That was crazy.
What am I supposed to do at American sports games as a Brit? Am I supposed to stand for that, or is that treason?
No, It's not treason. You don't have to put your hand over your heart because that's like a pledge. But you can just stand respectfully. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I think that's what I did. I just stood there, but without my hand.
Yeah. You know, as an ex-soldier, you know, it's kind of sad. In the olden days, when I was in the military and I was in uniform, I had to salute the flag. Anytime I was within, I think, 6 feet of it, I had to salute it if it was moving. So like if the flag bearers were like walking through a parking lot and I was within like 6 feet of it, I'd have to stop and salute. And maybe 10
Could you just take a wide berth?
No, I was no. I wasn't trying to avoid salute.
Okay.
I was actually, for all the silliness and nonsense aside, I'm fairly patriotic. I was pretty proud of my 5 years in the United States Army. Feel pretty good about that. And pretty. I love America. It's got some issues, but so I actually kind of felt like it was an honor to be able to salute the flag. And when I got out of the military, I lost that right. Yeah, I don't wear a uniform anymore. I'm not allowed to salute out of uniform, and so I can only put my hand over my heart. And it always makes me a little sad that I can't salute the flag anymore.
You can't?
I mean, I guess I could. I guess I fucking could, but it would be against like UCMJ protocol, which just doesn't matter. But it's just like it is what it is.
You're not allowed to salute out of uniform?
You're not supposed to salute out of uniform, yeah. Or at least you weren't supposed to back when I was in the Army. Things could change, but I doubt it.
I think I've heard that.
I've never heard that. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I no longer do it, and which is a bummer because I had one of the, not to brag, but I'm going to. I had one of the best salutes in the entire Army. I think I was so fucking. I used to practice.
Yeah,
the entire time I was in the Army, I would practice my salutes.
It'd be Wolverine claws one hand, salute the other hand.
Just like I have, because I'm around tons of dudes. I have a perfectly straight salute arm. From tip of my finger to my elbow, it's a perfect wedge. You can't beat it. It's a lot of people can't get their hand and their arm and their wrist as straight as I can, and so I always felt like I was like a bit of a superstar when it came to saluting. So yeah,
super saluter. Did we ever put out the video of you and Dan having a salute off? Because Dan salutes.
I don't think we should.
Dan in the British Army has like a different salute. I think the hand is like backwards.
Yeah, looks. I think. Well, listen. I think it probably came out as a happy hour or something years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't go back and look at it.
Oh.
It probably doesn't hold up.
Okay.
Might be a little offensive in 2023. Who knows?
Well,
we were all drinking back then.
we were all friends.
Yeah.
I tried to post a GIF, but I don't think it worked.
Yeah. What about the nitro? Do we want to get into nitro? Has that happened yet? Has that shifted?
It has.
Oh, there's the GIF. It's the salute. What am I looking at here?
This is a salute that I think is better than Geoff's. It's the Arnold Rimmer salute. Oh, it isn't. It's not the whole thing. It's some of it, but maybe the best salute on television from Red Dwarf.
That's a pretty good salute. I don't know that I can compete with that salute.
That's a tough one. I like that you practiced. I appreciate it. You put an effort in. How often would you say you practice doing that? How much time do you think you invested into having the perfect salute?
Nah, not often. Not much.
Not often.
Yeah, maybe when you're getting ready in the morning in the mirror, you're like, "Do I still got it?" Yeah. It's like maybe throw a couple, 3 or 4 extra salutes a day in front of the mirror just to make sure you're on point, as they say.
That was something I was talking to Andrew about recently. It's just I find it so strange that in non-international games, the American national anthem is still sang at all games.
What?
Like
really? Is it really?
Well, like it's like two basketball teams from America will sing the national anthem before they start.
Yeah.
Wait.
Like that's weird to me,
dude.
Wait, what are you saying exactly? I think I don't follow exactly what you're saying.
It's for other countries. It's like if you play an international game, both countries will sing the national anthem. You're singing it to yourselves.
I like that it's such a culture shock. Like the idea is that the anthem is supposed to be like a welcome to our country is how he is viewing it.
Yeah, like
okay,
if a Premier League game like like Tottenham versus Arsenal, they sang the British national anthem, you'd be like, wait, who's here? What? Who's this for?
See, it's just a different in culture. In America, there is this thing called national pride, and I don't know that it exists in the UK. But where most people are, even in the political turmoil of our country right now, and the division between the Democrats and the Republicans, people are proud to be from here, and it's considered like a showing of esprit de corps and unity to do the national anthem. It's even worse in the Army.
If it gets everyone all together, then I guess it works.
I will say the Army goes too far with it. Like there are movie theaters on Army bases, for soldiers to go to the movies, just like other normal person. off base. And they play the fucking national anthem before the movies, and you got to stand up and salute or like put your hand on your heart and shit. And I'm just seeing Tommy Boy. It's not even new. It's not even a new release. This is a dollar theater, you know. But you still gotta that's where I'm like, all right, let's calm down. Oh man, I will say we had a conversation at breakfast that I kind of wanted to get your take on, Andrew.
Okay.
When we were in Vegas. I think maybe Kent, my soon-to-be brother-in-law, brought this up, but do you think you've ever been somebody's last straw?
Well, I asked Eric about whether he'd been anyone's last straw.
Yeah, that was where it came from. Then.
Oh man, I'll have to think about that. I'm sorry, I don't have a better.
No, it's
direct
okay.
answer.
It was a just thrown at you, you know.
Yeah, no, I don't think I have been anyone's last straw. But
Gavin or
I'll
Eric,
think
do you guys think you've ever been someone's last straw?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No, I agree. Dude, listen, I'm reasonably certain that there could be a Facebook group of people that I have been their last straw. Like they're like just in the army alone. Like the 5 years that I was in the army, there's probably a dozen people I was their last straw. I
would guess that Eric caused me to walk away from the booth a couple of times at conventions.
Oh,
but,
probably.
But they
yeah.
It wasn't it was it was one of the straws, but it wasn't the last one. It was just like the final straw of that day, and then I loaded up with new straws for the next one.
Loaded up new straws.
I remember the time when I was in high school and my friend Shane and I would sit on his roof and wait till the end of the day when the construction crews would leave. I think I've told this story before. They were building a neighborhood right behind his house, and we would run out there at night and take all the cinder blocks and build a wall leading in, like at the road going into the neighborhood. So then the night security guard would have to drive in and then take the blocks down and then throw them off on the side of the road so that he could do his security patrol. And then after he would leave, we would put him back up, and then he would have to come and tear him down. And eventually he just stopped doing the security patrol. We did it to him for like 2 weeks, and then he just gave up.
What? What was your but like you slept in like the army and stuff where it was like you know you had to like really make something work, right? Like,
oh yeah, you want to hear the worst night of sleep in my life?
Yes,
I was when I was in the army in 1994. I had it was a bad year for me. I was deployed. Maybe it's 95. I was deployed about 8 months out of that year to Kuwait and to all different places. And so I had been gone almost the whole year, and I came home, and I was about to go. I came back home to Fort Hood, where I was stationed, and I went into work on a Monday. I had literally gotten home from Kuwait on Thursday, I think, and I had the weekend, and I got home Monday morning, and I was in a fucking great mood because Wednesday I was going to go home to Alabama to see my family for Christmas, and so I just had like an easy 2 days of work, and then I was on vacation. And I got into the office Monday morning, and my boss was there, and he goes, I was really, really nice guy. I really liked him, but he goes, Geoff, come here, son. And I go, anytime your boss calls you son, you're in for it. And I was like, in my head, I was like, what? I did a lot of dumb shit recently. What did I, what am I about to get in trouble for? And he goes, son, have a seat. And I go, okay. And he goes, I'm about to fuck you. And I was like, okay.
So you undid your belt.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is literal or what. I'm new to the army. And he goes, I really hate to do this to you, but you're getting deployed. And I laughed. I was like, no, I can't be getting deployed. I'm going home in 2 days. I'm on vacation. He goes, yeah, I had to rescind your leave. I'm really sorry. I need you to go on this important deployment. And I go, well, I have to call my mom and tell her I'm not coming home for Christmas. And he's like, yeah, you do that, but you can't tell her where you're going. It's a secret mission, and you're not allowed to mention it. And so I was really pissed about that. And we were going to Panama. By the way, I'm telling this story to Vamp while Andrew fixes his.
Am I fixed?
Yeah,
am I back?
You sound good. So I can end the story. I'm not trying to take up the whole fucking episode. I was just trying to cover some time. But anyway, he goes, I got to send you to Panama. What happened was a bunch of Haitian refugees left Haiti, and they ended up in Panama, and they didn't know what to do with them, so they built these honestly internment camps. It was kind of sketchy and scary, just to kind of house them all and feed them and take care of them while they figured out do they have to go back to Haiti or do they assimilate into Panama or whatever. And so I had to call my mom in front of him and tell her that I was going which is not a fun call you want to have with your mom 2 days before you're supposed to see her for Christmas when you're 19 years old and you've barely left home. and say, I have to go out of the country. I'm not coming home for Christmas, and I'm not allowed to say where I'm going. And my mom just starts crying. And she's like, "Oh, Jeffrey, oh no." And I go, "Yeah, my boss, he won't let me say where I'm going, but he didn't say I can't rhyme it, so it rhymes with Panama. I'm going to a place that rhymes with Panama." And he just fucking, like, his fucking steam came out of his ears.
This was right in front of him?
Yeah, it was right in front of him.
You idiot.
I don't give a fuck, dude. I was mad. And anyway, he's just like, he let it go. I saw him like settle himself, you know. He did the, you know, like stuff it down. And then he goes, okay. And so I get off the phone with my mom and I go, "Where am I going?" And he goes, "Or when am I going?" He goes, "That's the other thing. You need to go pack. You're leaving in like 4 hours." So I immediately went home, and luckily I had done laundry because all my laundry was fucking full of sand from Kuwait. And so I had just done laundry over the weekend. And so I packed up and I went to Panama. Then I get to Panama. I don't really know what's going to happen when I get there. We're staying on the fucking Panama Canal. Like, I'm looking at the Panama Canal from my tent. And worst night of sleep of my life, it's like 140% humidity in Panama somehow all year round. Like, it's like walking through a shower at all times. And the bugs on the Panama Canal are the size of Eric's dog. And also, by the way, we got there and all of our food spoiled. And so the army didn't have food for fucking 3 days. Like, I didn't get to eat for 3 fucking days because the food spoiled. But that's a different story. So anyway, so we set up these tents and these big open air tents, like right on the Panama Canal, which I'm like, are there alligators? Like, are they going to come eat me in my sleep? Because I can fucking see the water from here. This doesn't seem safe. But we set up these mosquito nets because there were fucking bugs everywhere. And then I went to sleep. And as soon as it gets dark and everybody goes to sleep, the monkeys come out. And the monkeys start screaming and yelling and fighting and attacking each other and destroying all of our stuff. And you can hear it. The monkeys are like, it's terrifying to hear a monkey in pitch black. And it's even worse to hear, like, I don't know, maybe 50 of them is what it sounds like. And anyway, so I had to sleep through bugs biting me every second and monkeys screaming in my ear all night long, praying that a monkey doesn't come and eat me. And that was like the longest night of my life. And when I got up in the morning, I was covered in bug bites from head to toe, like a horror movie. Like what Chet? Like what? Do you remember Bill Pullman? Was it Pullman or Pat? Yeah, Bill Pullman in Weird Science when she turns him into like a big blob of, like, essentially like a big zit. That's what my whole fucking body looked like. And so that's the worst night of sleep in my life, sleeping on the Panama Canal, being terrified of monkeys and getting malaria 6 or 7 times. Yeah, that's what I look like. Awful. That's what I look like right there.
What a dog shit night of sleep.
Yeah. That's terrible.
You know what they should invent? They should invent in tall buildings, like in cities like New York, they should invent like little piss doors that you can slide open, stick
like
your dick out, and pee outside.
Porthole?
Yeah, like a porthole, like a pee hole. When I was in the Army, and like when we would fly C-130s sometimes, which is airplane, they literally had like a little, like, I don't know, it's like almost like a urinal you'd saddle right up to, and you'd like stick your dick in it, and then you'd piss out the side of the plane, essentially.
Huh. So would that also count as the most difficult glory hole as well?
That'd be pretty fucking hard because the other side of it is it'd have to be like a really fast flying seagull or something.
You don't want to leave your dick out when it's window cleaning day and that's set up. That'd be a bad time. There's something really funny to me about the idea of your balls being caught by the draft, just like blasted away, blown away with a gust of wind.
Especially going like 350 miles an hour out of the side of a plane.
She put Geoff on the table and was like, there's not much hair here. It's not going to be much of a rip.
You're not very hairy. And I went, oh, okay, well, no big deal then. She was like, did you shave before you got here or anything? And I didn't. I was like, no, I did not. And she was like, okay, well, this won't be too bad then. It was too bad. She then just starts rubbing shit on my asshole. I'm pretty sure. Like I said it in the moment, I was in the Army for 5 years. I had to go through routine prostate exams. Nothing as intimate as what I just went through.
Oh my God.
With the waxing. She was like, oh, I'm just putting oil on it right now. And she was just like, she was at least knuckle deep inside of me, putting oil around the outside. And then I'm just sitting there looking at all my friends and coworkers while they're looking at me while I have a head through a giant black board. and there's 7 cameras trained on me. I think I told this story on this very podcast about how I sat on a toilet that fell through the floor once in the Army. But I also woke up in a lot of bathrooms back in my heavy drinking days. So I definitely have passed out in a lot of bathrooms, and I guess didn't hit anything too dangerous because I never woke up bloody. But yeah, I definitely woke up on the floor and wondered how I got there a bunch.
I've been having a pretty serious problem with my printer.
What is this most serious issue you can have with a printer?
So I print to it, right? It says couldn't find printer, or like it just doesn't print. And then I'll come back into my office like 4 hours later, and the thing is just on the floor. So my printer's just embarrassed. It doesn't want to print in front of me. I've never seen it print.
Dude, you have a shy printer. I dated a girl in the Army who was the same way with eating. She wouldn't eat in front of me. So we'd go to like Burger King, and she would wait till I look away, and then she'd take like a rabbit bite and then like freeze up again. Or I'd go to the bathroom and I'd come back and she'd be going to town. She just like wouldn't eat in front of me. Your printer is, you gotta sit down and have a conversation with your printer. Some houses have hot water tanks, or we have waterless heating systems, but you still can drink the hot water out of your tap.
Oh.
Have you never drank the hot water out of, I mean, I guess when would you? But have you just been like avoiding hot water getting in your mouth forever here?
Yeah. Well, I grew up with those...
Do you take cold showers?
I grew up with the English taps where there's like a cold tap and a hot tap and they're separate taps.
Uh-huh.
That's because you can't drink the hot one. That you don't want to mix them.
So wait,
what
so
the fuck kind of third world country is England, dude?
The whole time you've lived here, when you take like a hot shower, do you keep your mouth like so closed?
I think out of habit. If the water's hot, I don't have it in my mouth.
It's so weird. In America, the hotter it is, the safer it is. That's I mean, fucking. We boil stuff to get rid of the impurities.
Yeah, you can. No one stood in the shower having a drink while they're showering. What are you talking about?
No, but we're not avoiding it because we think it's not safe to drink either.
I mean, it will get in my mouth, but I'll gauze it back out onto the floor. I'm not going to just be like, oh, I see it. I'm going to swallow it.
The only time I've ever had to deal with non-potable water is when I was in the fucking deserts of Kuwait taking a shower off the back of a tanker truck.
That's the only time you...
It doesn't make its way into our homes, dude.
Would you drink toilet water?
Well, no, because I piss in there, but the water itself is coming from the same place all the other water does. Like, if you get to it before it touches the pee sides, it's clean water.
I've got a scenario for you, Geoff.
Okay.
If you had to drink the tub water of someone on this podcast, whose would you take a swig of? Just dunking your cup or bottle into someone's bath.
Is there soap in the bath?
No.
Oh, but they've been in the bath. They just have been in without products.
Yeah. But I feel like Andrew's would be the strongest because he stews for longer.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's like he's overly steeped.
Who do you think makes the least powerful water?
Probably whoever takes the quickest bath.
Oh yeah. It'd probably be me then.
You got a speed bath?
I got Army in me. You know, I can't eat or bathe longer than like 30 seconds. I gotta get it fucking in and out. Yeah.
I was talking the other day about how I thought lacrosse was fictional and just for the movie. Until
That's right.
realized it was a real thing. It looks so made up.
Can you imagine creating something so lame?
As lacrosse?
Like just visually? Yeah, just visually. Like if you're going to make a fake sport, I'm not saying lacrosse within the context of reality is lame, but in a world in which you're inventing a sport for a film, the best you can do is lacrosse. What a lame thing to come up with.
I agree with you. It is like looking at it, it's like, what if Quidditch was worse and everyone just ran around? Like, it's just so,
It's
absolutely.
hockey for dudes who can't skate.
The thing that I love the most about this conversation is that for the last year I was in the Army, I was the press agent, the one-man press office for the United States Military Academy's preparatory school in New Jersey, and they had a lacrosse team, and they would scrimmage against the West Point lacrosse team back and forth. And I've never seen people with a bigger chip on their shoulder in life than lacrosse players. Like, they wake up every day angry that the world doesn't respect their sport. and understand it, and they go to bed every night wanting to fight somebody over it. Like that is a group of people you don't want to piss off because they are itching to prove to you that lacrosse is a tough guy sport.
I don't doubt that it's a tough guy sport. I think the problem is that there's no, like, the exciting moment stuff isn't very exciting. Like, there's hard hits.
I'm not defending it at all. I totally agree with you. I'm just saying that's a bunch of people that just are, I've met that as a rule, as a generally, are just angry about how people view their sport.
I feel like the sport would be much more interesting if the ball glowed. I feel like it's too small to see.
Yeah, something like that. That's good.
And I don't mean this to be rude to people we know that play the other sports, but lacrosse and ultimate are like the same kind of thing to me, where it's just like it's really hard to look at it and get excited, I guess.
Yeah,
I had to photograph a lot of lacrosse game matches in the Army, and I'm right there with you. It didn't do it for me, but I also recognize that those dudes are like, I wouldn't say that to a lacrosse player's face because they would either yell at you for an hour or fight you.
Why do you all hate Twisters?
There were some people I know who said Twisters was like fun and was good.
No,
Yeah,
they
me too.
didn't.
Yeah.
Are they people that you respect?
Not anymore.
Yeah,
That thing was a giant spinning piece of turd.
What one is my wife.
She liked that movie?
Yeah, can you believe that?
Oh my
But
lord!
did she like the original?
Yeah, she loves the original.
Yeah, there's no way you can love the original and then love that.
What I said.
It
Said the
was
same thing.
so offensively bad in so many ways.
I can't believe that there's no kiss. There's no physical touch in that movie. It's crazy. It's
Their
crazy.
best friend, who's the guy from the Jim Beam commercials, joins the military, is in for 5 years, and leaves with government prototype satellite imaging technology that he gets to keep. I was also in the Army for exactly 5 years. I got a blanket. I got to keep a blanket and some old clothes. That is such fucking bullshit.
I don't see what your inability to get stuff has to do with him. That sounds like a you problem.
Yeah,
The
that might be
visuals,
on
the
you.
CG is now at the point where you can make weather look flawless. Like, it can be as realistic as you want. And I don't know how it looked worse than the original.
I feel the same way.
What do you think the happiest time is in a 24-hour clock?
5:01 p.m. Yeah, because we have cool jobs, but from like
Yes.
for most of my life, 5:01 p.m.
You're right. Yeah, like the minute work ends is typically in my past.
The greatest minute of the week is 5:01 p.m. on Friday, and this is the exact moment when it's the largest amount of time between now and I gotta do it again.
That is it.
5 p.m.
Can I add a
man.
cherry to this experience? I'm excited. I'm just thinking about this.
Oh, yeah, add the cherry.
It's a 3-day weekend. It's a long weekend. It's a Friday going into a 3-day. Oh, nothing better.
Well, there was one cool thing that they did in the Army that I got to give them credit for that I always thought was so badass. There was a rule when I was well, there's two cool things they did in the Army that I got to give them credit for. One is obviously nukes. The second one is there was a policy when I was at Fort Hood. I don't know if it was Army wide, but it was when I was there, that every 3-day weekend was a 4-day weekend. And so if you got Friday or Monday off, they gave you the other day off too.
That's amazing.
What?
Yeah.
That's
is really good.
awesome.
It was so
That should
fucking
be-
cool.
That should be worldwide. Like that, there's
I
no
agree.
reason. We should only be working 4 days anyway, but like, dude, if every 3-day weekend should be a 4-day weekend. You should tell your boss to go fuck himself. And then, that rocks.
It is amazing how far that goes too. Like you will put up with a lot of being at PT at 6 a.m. when you know there's a 4-day weekend coming up 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now. It's fucking, that's like, it's like gold in your hand, man. Oh, it's the best.
Absolutely.
That's it for now.
What about the 7 billion gnats in your front yard?
Oh, I didn't even remember that. I've mowed my lawn, right? And I just started leaving the clippings on the lawn. Just thought I'd try that out because my bin is full of rotten grass. And now there's probably, without exaggeration, 500 million gnats hovering above the grass.
Oh my God.
And maybe like 20 things, like dragonfly-ish sort of shaped things, trying to eat them. So there's just a swarm of an absolute war zone above my yard.
I went to Gav's house to pick him up because we went to lunch the other day, and I didn't get out of my car. I took one look at it, and I was like, I can't. It looked When I was in the Army, we went down to Panama and we had to camp on the Panama Canal, like on the Panama River. And it was like you could like physically part the bugs through the air with your hands. That's what it looked like. It looked like Panama. It looked like 100 degrees, 100% humidity in the middle of a jungle. It was wild.
I've Panama'd my frickin'... I miss my lawn guy.
You do? The one you
Yeah.
fired so that you could be a lawn guy?
Yeah.
Big words coming from a guy that didn't like Twisters. Big words. Sounds like you need to get your ears and eyes checked based on what they're saying. Great movie.
That's what needs to happen.
The idea that a guy would spend 5 years in the Army and walk away with billions of dollars of missile satellite technology, that while he was in the Army was the size of a block, but they got it down to the size of an LED panel, and then the military let him take it. Once again, just pointing out, I was in the Army also for 5 years. I got a blanket and a pair of boots and my dog tags when I left, and I had to fight for the blanket. You know, it's like, it boggles the mind. And then the idea that it's funded by an evil developer who just wants to buy up property cheaply after people go through a tragedy. They need to hire a company with billions of dollars of technology to figure out the place that used to be a house is going to be for sale next week. Hire 30 real estate agents and let them loose on those Oklahoma towns and save $60 billion in R&D investment. It's so ludicrous. And I'm sorry. Here we go. Here we go again. I just am suddenly very aware of everything that I own, because everything that I own is in the same house because I got rid of storage shed and everything. And you just start to think about the stuff you're holding on to because you think matters. And I just did a round of like cleaning out old documents that I had been saving. I had pay stubs that I had saved from when I was in journalism school in the Army.
Whoa.
Holy shit.
Do you think the IRS might need them?
Yeah, just in case.
I had every tax return from 1994 until this year I had saved. And so I had to go and I realized I read about it. You only need to save like 7 years, but I had been carrying all that stuff around for so long, not even thinking about it, you know? That reminds me of, Bernie and Gus and I had a paintball phase for a little bit there for about, I don't know. I had a paintball phase for about 4 months. I think theirs lasted about 6. I fell out before they did. But we would go and play in the woods behind the call center where we used to work, right? And one day I put on my army boots, my steel-toed army boots. And while I was in the woods, like waiting for Bernie or Gus or whatever, I just had my paintball gun in my hand. And I thought, and I just pointed it at my foot, like, I don't know, 6 inches above my fucking toe, my big toe, and just shot it and found out that I did not have steel toe boots. I just had regular boots and they were like cardboard. And that was one of the most blindingly painful moments of my life, I think. Now, I'm so glad you reminded me of all these embarrassing.
It's so annoying when you just do it to yourself and there's like no one to blame and like nothing really surprising happened. It's just all your fault.
Yeah, and you have to sit there for a second and think like, how did I do that? And then you have to why did my brain, what was I thinking? And you just try to understand your own stupidity and there's just nothing there.